All right, let's jump right into a deep dive into Hindu philosophy. Okay, so today we're looking at it's a YouTube video and it's in Hindi.
Wow.
Yeah, you might be thinking, Hindi, are we going to have to read subtitles this whole time? But I think you'll find that these ideas are, well, they're really powerful and they kind of go beyond any one language.
That's true. I mean, the questions about like life and what it all means, they
Yeah.
come up in every culture.
Exactly. So the video, the title is, and I'll butcher this, but and that's from this channel called Sri Radha Mananasamrita. And we're going to be talking about some pretty big concepts like the soul, how our actions have this impact, and even like different ways people think about reaching liberation.
And what I think is really interesting is how this video talks about the soul, what they call Atman, as being totally separate from like our physical bodies.
Yeah, they use this analogy. It's like changing clothes to
Okay.
show how the soul kind of moves through different bodies over and over, like we put on new
I
clothes.
see. So it's like the soul isn't limited by the body's like, physical stuff.
Right, exactly. The video even says that fire can't burn it, water can't make it wet, even weapons can't hurt the soul. It's like this undestroyable essence.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah. So, okay, but if the soul is eternal like that, does that mean we're all just kind of stuck going through the motions, like repeating things forever?
Well, that's where karma comes in, right? So this video, it presents karma as this really complicated web of actions and their consequences, and it can even go across multiple lifetimes. What we do now doesn't just affect this life, but also what happens in the future, like our future lives.
So every action is like planting a seed, and eventually it'll grow into something. Maybe not now, but someday.
Exactly. And it's not like karma is just fate either. The video says there are two ways we can break free from this cycle: Karma Sanyas and Dishkam Karma Yoga.
Okay. But hold on, isn't any action, even if it seems good, going to be tied to karma somehow? How does the video explain that?
Good question. It seems like karma sign is, completely giving up all actions and what comes from them. It needs a level of detachment that's really hard to actually do. Like imagine living in the world but not letting it affect you at all. Kind of like a lotus leaf just floating on top of the water.
Hmm. That seems pretty tough. Can anyone really be that separated from everything around them?
That's exactly the hard part about that path. Even wanting to be detached is still a desire, right? And that desire itself makes more karma. So the video seems to be pointing towards this Nishkam Karma Yoga as being more doable.
So instead of trying to avoid doing anything, we change how we do things.
Right. It's about doing stuff without being attached to what happens because of it, without, you know, wanting something for yourself. Like imagine a doctor who just wants to help people, not because they want to be famous or rich.
I'm starting to see the difference. It's not about what we do, but why we do it.
Exactly. By focusing on something bigger than ourselves, something beyond our own little wants and desires, we kind of cancel out the karma that would come from it.
So we don't become passive, we just change what's driving us. But the video also mentions bhakti, this idea of devotion. Where does that fit in?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The video actually suggests that bhakti could be an even faster way to liberation than just giving up all actions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that because focusing on something divine, like, takes the ego out of the equation?
I like that idea. It's like when we dedicate everything we do and think to something bigger than ourselves, we naturally stop being so focused on our own selfish desires, the ones that keep us tied to karma.
So we're not getting rid of desires, we're just pointing them in a different direction.
Right, towards something with more meaning. And maybe by doing that, we can loosen the grip that karma has on us.
This video is really making us think about, like, why we do what we do. It's not just about the actions themselves.
Yeah, totally. And that leads us to another important part of this video, the power of the mind. It says that our minds can be like our best friend or our worst enemy when it comes to finding liberation.
It's like a double-edged sword, right? It
Yeah,
can either help us be free or keep us trapped in all this suffering.
exactly. It depends if we can control it or if it controls us. And that's where meditation, or dhyana as they call it, becomes so important. This is something the video really focuses on.
I get that. Meditation helps us like understand our minds better. It gives us that space to, watch our thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them.
Right. The video even uses that story about Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita. He
Yeah.
gets frustrated, right? He tells Krishna that controlling the mind is harder than controlling the wind.
Yeah, I feel that. It's like there's this voice in your head that never shuts up. But the video doesn't just leave us hanging with that frustration. It actually gives us some practical advice on how to approach meditation.
Yeah, and it starts by saying that the place you're in, the external environment, it's only one part of it. The real work is creating the right conditions inside ourselves.
So we don't have to wait for the perfect, peaceful setting. We can create that peace within. But how do we actually do that? Does the video give us any specific techniques?
It does. It talks about a few things, like first focusing on your breath. When you pay attention to like the rhythm of your breath, it kind of brings you back to the present moment, you know. It helps you break free from all those thoughts that just keep coming.
So the breath becomes this tool that gently brings our attention back whenever it wanders off.
Exactly. The video also says it's important to be still, physically. When our bodies are restless, our minds are usually restless too.
So being physically still can actually calm the mind.
Yeah, it's like creating a stable base for the mind to settle down. And then finally, it talks about turning away from distractions, not letting your senses get pulled outwards all the time.
Does that mean we have to completely shut ourselves off from the world?
Not necessarily. It's more about consciously shifting your attention inwards, like turning down the volume of everything outside so you can hear those quieter things inside.
So creating that inner quiet, even though there's so much going on around us. But, anyone who's tried meditation knows it's not that easy to just silence your mind. What happens when we get distracted or lose focus, which we all do?
Well, that's when the video's message is really reassuring, I think. It says that those distractions are normal. It's all part of the process. The important thing is to notice when your mind has wandered and just gently bring it back to what you were focusing on.
So it's not about getting mad at ourselves for getting distracted. It's about being patient with ourselves and being kind as we train our minds.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you only have like a few moments of real stillness when you're meditating, those moments are really powerful. They plant these seeds of peace and clarity, and those seeds grow over time.
It's like working out a muscle, right?
Mm.
The more we practice, the stronger our focus gets and our minds become quieter.
That's a great way to put it. And here's something else I thought was important. The video says that even when we go off track, we're never truly lost. It's like there's this invisible thread connecting us back to our spiritual center.
So even when we mess up or get sidetracked, there's something inside us guiding us back to our true nature.
Exactly. And the more we listen to that inner guide, the easier our journey becomes.
It's like we're developing this inner knowing, an intuition that shows us the way to our highest potential. But this all seems very personal, internal. How does it connect to, karma and liberation and all that stuff we were talking about before?
Now, that is a great question, and this is where everything the video is saying starts to come together.
So finding inner peace isn't just about feeling calmer. It actually affects our karma.
Right. Remember how we talked about actions creating ripples? Well, our inner state, the thoughts and intentions we have, they create ripples too. They go outward and impact the world around us.
So if we're cultivating peace and clarity inside ourselves, those things will naturally radiate outwards and make our interactions better and even help make the world a more positive place.
Exactly. And when we reduce the negativity and selfishness behind our actions, we lighten the load of karma that we're carrying.
So we're not just working on ourselves, we're actually helping to create a world that's more harmonious and balanced.
That's exactly it.
Hmm?
And that's where the real power of this path lies. It's not just about our own personal liberation, but about recognizing how connected we all are and contributing to the well-being of everyone.
It's a beautiful vision. But as we go even deeper into this video's teachings, is there anything else that really stands out to you? One thing that really sticks out to me from this video is, how much it focuses on bhakti, that devotion idea. It makes it sound like bhakti is this powerful force that can help us get to liberation.
Yeah, it is interesting. The video almost seems to be saying that bhakti might even be a better way than just trying to give up all actions.
Why do you think that is? Is it about letting go of our egos and realizing we're not really separate from the divine?
That's a deep thought, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, with everything being connected. Maybe with bhakti, we start to understand things on a different level. We see that we're not just individuals, but like part of this huge web of existence.
So instead of trying to escape the world, it's more about seeing things from a new perspective. We realize we're part of something much bigger than ourselves.
And maybe through that change, that surrender to something greater, we naturally let go of the stuff that keeps us stuck in that cycle of karma.
It's like we're tuning into this different frequency, a vibration that's like in harmony with the core of everything that exists.
And maybe that helps to like untangle those knots of karma that are keeping us trapped in all this suffering.
It's a beautiful idea. Does the video say anything about how we can develop this sense of bhakti?
Well, it doesn't really give us specific techniques, but it does say it's important to see that divine spark, not just in ourselves, but in everyone and everything.
So it's not just about worshiping some god outside of us. It's about like respecting the sacredness of life itself.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the divine in everything, the beauty of nature, the kindness of people, even just those little moments of joy and connection we experience.
It's like bringing that sense of awe and gratitude into like every part of our lives.
Yeah. And maybe by doing that, we start to see past this idea that we're all separate. We realize that we're all connected, all expressions of the same divine source.
That's a powerful shift in how we see things. And it makes you think, that this video is in Hindi, but it's talking about things that are true for everyone, no matter what language they speak.
It really is. These ancient teachings, they have this amazing ability to like guide us on our own journeys to understand ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm feeling like a mix of wonder and responsibility. Wonder at how vast everything is and how connected we all are, and a responsibility to live in a way that honors that connection.
That's beautifully put. It reminds us that finding liberation isn't just about our own personal enlightenment. It's about making the world a more harmonious and compassionate place.
And to our listener, we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas, to dig deeper into the teachings that speak to you, and to approach this journey of self-discovery with, courage and an open heart.
Because in the end, it's through this journey, this exploration of ourselves, that we discover what our lives really mean and what we're here to do.